Develop Stoic Mindset, The Art of Inner Strength. Written and published by Audiobook. In a nutshell, a Stoic mindset is not about suppressing emotions or rejecting the world. It is about mastering yourself within it. It teaches you how to remain calm in chaos, steady in struggle, and wise in the face of uncertainty. Developing a Stoic mindset is developing mental armor. It is not about becoming unfeeling, it is about becoming unshakable. Understanding Stoicism. Stoicism is a philosophy that began over 2,000 years ago, but its wisdom is more relevant today than ever. Its core message is simple: you cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. Stoicism teaches that peace comes not from the world, but from within. True strength is internal, not external. The power of control. At the heart of Stoicism lies one fundamental idea: the dichotomy of control. This principle divides life into two categories. Dekadi, what you can control, your thoughts, actions, choices, and attitude. What you cannot control, other people, events, outcomes, and time. The Stoic learns to focus energy only on what can be controlled, and to accept everything else with calm understanding. When you stop wasting energy on what you cannot change, you reclaim your power. The modern relevance of Stoicism. In a world driven by noise, urgency, and comparison, Stoicism offers clarity. It is not a retreat from life, but a return to what matters. It reminds you that your peace cannot depend on others' opinions or the chaos of the world, but only on your ability to choose your response. The modern Stoic is not detached. They are deeply engaged with life, yet grounded in reason, not emotion. Practicing the Stoic mindset. To develop a Stoic mindset, practice these principles daily. Decide, pause before reacting. In every situation, take a breath before responding. Control begins in the pause. Detach from outcomes. Focus on effort, not result. You cannot control the future, only your preparation for it. Accept reality fully. Denial creates suffering. Acceptance creates peace. Embrace discomfort. Every challenge is an opportunity to strengthen your character. Reflect daily. Review your actions and thoughts each night. Growth begins with awareness. The strength of acceptance. Acceptance is not weakness, it is wisdom. It means facing reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. It means learning to adapt instead of resist. When you accept what you cannot change, you make space to focus on what you can, and in that focus lies transformation. The Stoic view of emotion. Stoicism does not teach you to erase emotion, it teaches you to understand it. Emotions are signals, not commands. They tell you what you value, but they should not dictate what you do. To be Stoic is to remain centered amid emotion, to feel deeply, yet act wisely. Action step. Today, when something small frustrates you, a delay, a rude comment, an unexpected problem, pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If it is, act calmly. If not, release it. This single practice, repeated daily, will begin to reshape your entire mindset. The Stoic mindset as freedom. When you stop trying to control what you cannot, you become free. When your peace no longer depends on circumstances, you become powerful. Developing a Stoic mindset is not about withdrawing from life. It is about mastering yourself so that life cannot master you. That is the first step toward true inner strength. Emotional resilience is not the absence of emotion, it is the mastery of it. Life will test you with frustration, disappointment, and loss. You cannot control when these moments come, but you can control how deeply they shake you. A Stoic mind is calm not because life is easy, but because it has trained itself to remain steady no matter what comes. Understanding emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is your ability to endure hardship, adapt to change, and remain grounded through emotional storms. It is not built overnight. It grows from consistent practice, reflection, and the willingness to face difficulty with grace. For the Stoic, pain and stress are not enemies, they are teachers. They reveal your limits, expose your reactions, and challenge you to rise beyond them. Resilience does not come from avoiding discomfort. It comes from meeting it with composure. The discipline of calm. Calm is a discipline, not a mood. It is something you choose, not something you wait to feel. Every moment of irritation, fear, or anxiety is an opportunity to strengthen this discipline. To remain calm under pressure is not a gift. It is a practiced skill. You develop it by reminding yourself that your reaction, not the event, determines your peace. When others lose themselves in emotion, the Stoic holds steady. This steadiness does not mean coldness. It means clarity. How the Stoics viewed emotion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This principle lies at the heart of emotional resilience. You cannot stop events, but you can control your internal dialogue. Epictetus taught that suffering comes not from what happens, but from how we interpret it. When you shift your interpretation, you transform your experience. Thus, a Stoic trains their perception. When an obstacle appears, they see not tragedy but opportunity. When insulted, they see not injury, but a test of patience. When plans fail, they see not loss but redirection. Modern chaos, ancient calm. We live in an age of endless stimulation, messages, opinions, and expectations pulling at the mind. Stoic calm is a refuge in this noise. It does not mean retreating from the world. It means moving through it without losing yourself to it. Calmness in the modern world is rebellion. It is strength disguised as silence. Emotional training, 3 daily practices. To develop the discipline of calm, train your emotions like a muscle. Hati, pause and observe. When emotion rises, stop and observe it before reacting. Notice what you feel, but do not become it. This pause separates reaction from response. Name the emotion, label it clearly: anger, fear, envy, frustration. Naming it takes power away from it. It becomes an object to examine rather than a force controlling you. Choose your response. Ask yourself, what response aligns with my principles? Then act, not from impulse, but from intention. With repetition, this process rewires your emotional reflexes, reframing stress as growth. Every challenge can serve you if you let it. When you face difficulty, ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of viewing hardship as punishment, view it as preparation. Frustration strengthens patience. Rejection strengthens self-worth. Pressure strengthens clarity. Failure strengthens wisdom. The Stoic transforms adversity into training. Nothing is wasted. Detachment, not indifference. Detachment is often misunderstood. It is not about not caring, it is about caring wisely. You detach not from people or values, but from outcomes you cannot control. Detachment allows you to love without clinging, to give without expecting, and to act without being paralyzed by fear of results. Indifference is cold. Detachment is strength. Stoic strategies for emotional stability. Here are timeless practices drawn from Stoic philosophy and modern psychology that build lasting calm. Morning reflection. Begin the day by visualizing potential challenges. Prepare your mind to meet them with calm. Evening review. End the day by reflecting on how you responded to events. What did you handle well? What will you improve tomorrow? Voluntary discomfort. Occasionally do something difficult on purpose. Wake up earlier. Take a cold shower. Fast. Or speak honestly in a hard conversation. Training through discomfort builds strength for larger challenges. Minimal reaction. Practice saying less. When angry, silence often protects peace better than words. Stoic visualization. Imagine losing something you take for granted, a possession, an opportunity, even time. This teaches gratitude and detachment at once. These are not theories. They are exercises. Stoicism is a philosophy of action. Resilience through self-mastery. Resilience through self-mastery. Resilience grows when you govern yourself. The person who cannot control their emotions is ruled by circumstance. The one who can rules themselves. Every time you stay calm when provoked, patient when delayed, and kind when misunderstood, You strengthen your inner power. Self-mastery is not arrogance. It is discipline. It is the quiet confidence that you can handle what life brings. The quiet mind. A Stoic mind is not loud. It does not chase approval or battle for control. It is grounded in the simple awareness. I can choose my response. That awareness creates freedom. The quiet mind is not empty. It is steady. It observes emotion without drowning in it. It sees reality clearly, without distortion. It finds peace, not by escaping life, but by understanding it. Action step. Today, when emotion arises, whether irritation, sadness, or fear, pause and observe. Ask yourself, is this within my control? What interpretation am I choosing? What response reflects the person I aim to become? Then act with calm and composure. This practice, repeated, will turn reaction into reason. The reward of resilience. Emotional resilience brings inner peace that cannot be stolen. It turns uncertainty into growth and adversity into wisdom. The Stoic does not chase calm. They create it. They do not seek control over life. They seek control over themselves. And in mastering themselves, they find what the world cannot give: unshakable strength. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in the human mind. It can protect you or it can paralyze you. It can guide wise caution or it can trap you in hesitation. The Stoic learns not to destroy fear, but to understand and master it. Life will always carry uncertainty. The question is not whether fear will appear, but whether you will let it lead. The Stoic path is about walking forward in calm courage, even when the outcome is unclear. The nature of fear. Fear is not your enemy. It is your body's ancient signal that something valuable might be lost. Safety, comfort, or control. The problem is not fear itself, but your attachment to the illusion of certainty. Most people suffer not from what happens, but from what they imagine might happen. They live in fear of possibilities that never come. A Stoic accepts uncertainty as part of existence. The future cannot be predicted, but it can be prepared for with reason, not panic. Understanding the mind's illusions. Fear thrives on imagination. It magnifies small risks into giant threats. It whispers that failure means ruin, that loss is unbearable, that change is danger. But in truth, fear is a storyteller, one that often lies. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Today I escaped anxiety," or no, I discarded it, because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside. Most fear lives in perception, not reality. When you question the story your fear tells, you take its power away. The Stoic approach to fear. The Stoic method is not to suppress fear, but to confront it with reason. When fear arises, they ask 3 questions. What exactly am I afraid of? Is it within my control? If it happened, could I still endure it? This practice transforms vague anxiety into specific understanding. Most fears fade under examination. The Stoic remembers, whatever is humanly bearable, they can bear. The power of preparation. The Stoics trained themselves through a method called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They would imagine possible hardships, not to invite negativity, but to prepare mentally for them. When you visualize what could go wrong, you remove its surprise. You realize that you can survive much more than you think. Fear loses control when it meets preparation. Epictetus advised, don't hope that events will happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and your life will go smoothly. This is not pessimism, it is readiness. The relationship between fear and control. Every fear is a reflection of control. You fear losing what you cannot control: health, possessions, relationships, reputation. But fear disappears when you accept that some things were never yours to keep. Freedom begins where control ends. When you release the need to control everything, fear has nothing left to cling to. The courage to act. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement in spite of it. The Stoic takes action, not because they are unafraid, but because they have decided that purpose is greater than emotion. Every time you act despite fear, you train the mind to see courage as natural. The more you face fear directly, the smaller it becomes. Do not wait for confidence to act. Confidence comes from action, the calm within chaos. When the world shakes, the Stoic grounds themselves in principle. Their calm is not denial, it is choice. They remind themselves, I can handle what comes. I have endured before, I can endure again. I will not be ruled by what I cannot control. This inner repetition creates strength that fear cannot penetrate. Practical Stoic exercises to conquer fear. This truth dismantles fear's illusion of catastrophe. Shift focus to present action. The mind cannot hold fear and focus at the same time. When you act on what is within your control right now, fear fades into the background. Practice temporary discomfort. Expose yourself to small fears regularly. Speak up, take a risk, accept silence. These moments build the habit of courage. Affirm strength daily. Begin the day with the thought, whatever comes today, I can meet it with calm. Over time, this becomes instinct. Lessons from the Stoics on fear. Seneca taught that fear multiplies suffering. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This simple truth frees you. You are not suffering from the event, but from the story your mind tells about it. When you change the story, you change your strength. Marcus Aurelius faced war, plague, and betrayal, yet he wrote calmly each morning about duty, reason, and acceptance. His peace came not from safety, but from inner mastery. That is the Stoic way. Calm amid storms, focus amid fear. The gift of uncertainty. Fear tries to protect you from uncertainty, but uncertainty is life itself. Without it, there would be no growth, no challenge, no change. When you stop fearing uncertainty, you begin to live freely. You understand that every unknown moment holds the potential for learning and transformation. The Stoic does not chase certainty. They build strength to thrive without it. Action step. Today, write down one fear that holds you back, something you have avoided or worried about. Examine it. What are you really afraid of? What part of it is in your control? What would happen if you faced it? Then take one small action toward it. Courage grows from small steps. The Stoic freedom from fear. To develop a Stoic mindset is to become fearless, not because the world is safe, but because you are strong. When fear no longer dictates your choices, you become free. You move through uncertainty with calm confidence. You act, adapt, and rise. Fear is natural. Courage is trained, and the Stoic trains it every day. Discipline is the foundation of every Stoic virtue. Without it, wisdom fades into theory, and strength remains a wish. Discipline is what transforms Stoic philosophy from words into action, from knowledge into mastery. To live as a Stoic is to live with intention. Every choice, every action, and every word is guided by principle, not impulse. Discipline is not about restriction, it is about freedom through self-command. The essence of discipline. Discipline is the art of doing what must be done, even when comfort tempts you otherwise. It is the quiet strength that resists distraction, delay, and emotion. A Stoic does not wait for motivation. They act out of duty to their highest self. They understand that every small act of discipline shapes character. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." This applies not only to fear but to discipline. The anticipation of effort is often worse than the effort itself. Once you begin, the burden lightens. Stoic discipline, a choice, not a mood. Modern culture teaches that action follows emotion, that we must feel ready, confident, or inspired before we begin. The Stoic reverses this. Action comes first, emotion follows. You do not need to feel disciplined to act with discipline. You simply need to choose it. The Stoic mind understands that the body obeys consistency, not mood. Each morning you rise and do what is needed, not what is easy. Discipline begins where feeling ends. The daily practice of mastery. Stoicism is not learned in books alone. It is lived through repetition. The Stoic life is a series of daily practices that refine the mind, body, and character. Morning intention. Begin each day by reminding yourself of what truly matters. Visualize potential challenges and decide in advance how you will respond with patience, calm, and reason. Mindful work. Whatever task you face, give it full presence. Do it not for recognition, but for excellence itself. Discipline grows through focused effort. Emotional control. Throughout the day, pause before reacting. Speak less. Observe more. Respond from principle, not impulse. Evening reflection. Review your day without judgment. Where did you act wisely? Where did emotion lead? Reflection turns experience into wisdom. These practices, repeated daily, form the architecture of the Stoic life. Discipline over desire. Desire pulls the mind in many directions toward comfort, praise, indulgence, and distraction. Discipline keeps it centered. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Every desire asks you to surrender control to something external. The Stoic remembers that happiness is not found in chasing, but in mastering the urge to chase. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. Freedom is having the strength to choose what is right. The modern struggle with discipline. In a world of convenience, discipline becomes rare. Technology offers instant pleasure, endless distraction, and constant stimulation. The Stoic mindset thrives precisely because it rejects this weakness. Discipline is the ability to say no. No to distraction. No to indulgence. No to the unnecessary noise of the world. When others are controlled by impulse, the Stoic acts by principle, turning routine into ritual. The Stoic treats daily habits as sacred rituals of strength. Eating, exercising, working, and reflecting are not chores, they are training for life. When you treat ordinary acts as opportunities for virtue, you elevate your existence. For example, eating mindfully becomes a lesson in moderation. Working diligently becomes a lesson in perseverance. Listening patiently becomes a lesson in humility. Resting with gratitude becomes a lesson in balance. Nothing is wasted when done with awareness. The discipline of thought. Mental discipline is the highest form of self-control. Every thought you allow shapes your world. A Stoic trains their mind to filter unhelpful thoughts, to question automatic reactions, and to replace complaint with gratitude. When your thoughts align with your values, your actions naturally follow. You cannot always control what enters the mind, but you can control what stays there. The connection between discipline and peace. Many assume discipline is harsh and joyless. In truth, discipline creates peace. When you live with structure and purpose, the mind rests. There is no guilt from wasted time, no regret from broken promises to yourself. You trust your own consistency. Discipline creates order, and order creates freedom. The undisciplined chase comfort and find chaos. The disciplined endure discomfort and find peace. Practical Stoic habits to strengthen discipline. Wake up with purpose. Begin the day intentionally. Avoid reaching for your phone or drifting into distraction. Follow a code. Create personal rules aligned with your value. For example, I speak only with intention. I waste no time on complaint. Do one hard thing daily. Choose a task you resist and complete it. Difficulty is the gym of discipline. Limit what you consume. Guard your attention as you would guard your wealth. The Stoic chooses input carefully. End the day with gratitude. Gratitude transforms routine into reflection. It keeps ambition from turning into greed. Each small practice compounds into lasting strength. Action step. Select one area of life where you feel scattered. Your health, finances, time, or emotions. Define one simple discipline to practice for the next 7 days. Commit fully. Each day you keep that promise. You strengthen the muscle of consistency. The legacy of discipline. Discipline is not a punishment. It is preparation. It shapes you into someone who can be trusted, relied upon, and respected by others and by yourself. The Stoic understands that without discipline, wisdom cannot endure. Discipline is the bridge between knowledge and greatness. Through discipline you command yourself. Through command you find freedom. That is the Stoic path, to act with principle, live with structure, and move with calm purpose through every challenge. One of the greatest sources of human suffering is attachment. Our tendency to cling to things, people, and outcomes as if they must remain unchanged for us to be happy. The Stoic understands that nothing is truly ours to possess, only to experience. Detachment is not coldness. It is clarity. It is the strength to love without clinging, to work without craving, and to live without fear of loss. When you master detachment, you gain something far greater than control. You gain peace. Understanding detachment. Detachment is not the rejection of life. It is freedom from being ruled by it. It means you can enjoy what you have without being broken when it changes or fades. Everything around you, possessions, relationships, achievements, is temporary. Change is not the exception, it is the rule. The Stoic accepts this truth not with sadness, but with serenity. Seneca wrote, "He suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary." When you cling, you suffer twice. Once when you worry about losing, and again when loss inevitably comes. Detachment frees you from both. The nature of impermanence. Look around, everything in life is in motion. The seasons change, people grow and move on, success rises and falls, and even your own body renews itself daily. To deny impermanence is to fight the natural rhythm of life. The Stoic chooses harmony over resistance. They know that peace is found in flowing with change, not against it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each day, "Soon you will have forgotten all things, and all things will have forgotten you." This is not pessimism, it is perspective. It teaches gratitude for the moment, because the moment is all we truly have. The roots of attachment. Attachment comes from the illusion of control. You tell yourself, "This is mine," but in truth everything you possess is on loan from time. You cannot control how long someone stays in your life. You cannot control how the world perceives you. You cannot control the permanence of wealth, success, or comfort. The Stoic accepts this reality fully and finds freedom in it. Detachment is the understanding that you can lose nothing that truly belongs to you, because what truly belongs to you is your character, your virtue, your principles. Emotional freedom through detachment. Detachment does not mean apathy. It means you care deeply, but without desperation. You love without clinging. You act with purpose, but without fear of failure. When you detach, you no longer depend on outcomes for peace. You become grounded in effort, not results. The Stoic says, "I will give my best to this task, but I will not let my happiness depend on its success." This mindset protects you from emotional chaos. The paradox of letting go. The more you cling, the more you lose. The more you let go, the more peace you gain. This paradox sits at the heart of Stoic freedom. When you stop chasing what you cannot keep, you begin to enjoy what you already have. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means giving space. It allows you to move forward with lightness instead of fear. The Stoic mind walks through life open-handed, knowing that everything you receive must one day be released. Detachment in action. You can support them, not control them. In work, perform your duties with excellence, but detach from praise or reward. Your peace should come from integrity, not approval. In loss, when something leaves your life, allow it to go with grace. The Stoic grieves but does not despair. Acceptance turns pain into wisdom. In success, celebrate achievements, but do not anchor identity to them. Fortune changes quickly, character endures. Detachment allows you to move through success and loss with the same calm spirit. Practical Stoic exercises for letting go. Negative visualization. Each day imagine losing something you take for granted. A relationship, an ability, or an opportunity. This is not morbid. It's gratitude training. When you imagine loss, you awaken deeper appreciation for what remains. 2. The open hand practice. Hold your hand open as a reminder. You can only hold life gently. The tighter you grip, the more it slips away. 3. Observe attachment triggers. Notice what disturbs your peace most. Criticism, delays, changes. Ask, why does this bother me? What am I afraid to lose? Awareness is the first step toward release. 4. Replace mine with temporary. When you think this is my house, my job, my success, remind yourself, this is mine for now. This subtle shift keeps gratitude alive and fear small. The strength behind surrender. Many mistake letting go for weakness. In truth, it takes immense strength to surrender control and accept life as it is. Surrender does not mean doing nothing. It means doing what you can, and then releasing what you can. It means trusting that you can adapt to whatever comes next. The Stoic knows that control is limited, but resilience is infinite. Living lightly. To live lightly is to move through life unburdened by excess attachment. It is to enjoy without addiction, to achieve without arrogance, to give without expecting. A light spirit walks easily through change. It bends but does not break. It finds stability not in circumstance but in self-awareness. The Stoic's goal is not to escape life's weight, but to carry it with balance. Action step. Today, choose one attachment, something you fear losing, or feel overly dependent on. Reflect. What emotion arises when you imagine losing it? Is that fear serving you or controlling you? How could you engage with it more freely, without ownership? Practice holding it lightly. You will discover that peace increases as attachment decreases. The freedom of letting go. Detachment leads to the deepest freedom, the freedom to live fully, love deeply, and act boldly, without being enslaved by fear of loss. The Stoic mind remains at peace because it has learned that nothing external can truly be possessed. The only thing that belongs entirely to you is your ability to live with virtue, reason, and grace. When you release the need to control everything, you gain control over the only thing that truly matters, yourself. That is the essence of Stoic peace. To let go, and in letting go, to find everything. Every human life encounters hardship. Some days test your patience, others test your endurance. The Stoic does not ask for an easier life. They train for a stronger mind. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to act rightly despite it. It is standing firm when circumstances shake, trusting that your principles are stronger than your pain. The Stoic understands that every obstacle carries within it an opportunity for growth. Adversity is not the enemy. It is the teacher. Understanding Stoic. Courage. In Stoicism, courage is one of the 4 cardinal virtues, alongside wisdom, justice, and temperance. It is the quality that allows all others to exist. Without courage, wisdom cannot be applied. Without courage, justice cannot be defended. Without courage, discipline fades under pressure. Courage is the foundation of character. It is strength in motion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it." Stop complaining. Courage begins when complaint ends. It is the shift from why me to what now. The nature of adversity. Adversity reveals what comfort conceals. When life is easy, character sleeps. When life becomes hard, it awakens. A Stoic sees challenge as a test of alignment. Do your actions still reflect your values when things go wrong? Can you remain calm when the world provokes you to panic? These are the questions that shape a Stoic life. Pain, difficulty, and loss are not punishments. They are the proving grounds of resilience. Fear and reason. Fear is the mind's natural response to uncertainty. It imagines pain before it arrives, but fear is only powerful when unexamined. The Stoic meets fear with reason. They ask, what am I truly afraid of? Is this fear based on reality or imagination? What would happen if I faced it calmly? By questioning fear, you strip it of mystery. What once seemed terrifying becomes manageable. Epictetus reminded his students, men are disturbed not by things but by the views they take of them. The event itself is neutral. It is your judgment that defines your suffering. Turning adversity into strength. Stoicism teaches that obstacles are not interruptions but invitations. Each difficulty holds potential for virtue. When faced with adversity, the Stoic mind asks, what quality is this moment calling for? If you face injustice, it calls for patience. If you face fear, it calls for courage. If you face loss, it calls for acceptance. In this way, every challenge becomes a training ground for the soul. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is not poetic optimism, it is strategy. By facing obstacles directly, you transform them into pathways. Practical courage in daily life. Courage is not always heroic or dramatic. It is often quiet, subtle, and consistent. It takes courage to speak the truth when silence would be easier. It takes courage to act with integrity when no one is watching. It takes courage to begin again after failure. It takes courage to stay calm when provoked by anger or fear. Courage is choosing principle over comfort every single day. The Stoic understands that the bravest acts are often invisible to the world. The role of acceptance in courage. Courage is not blind resistance. It is wise acceptance. It is knowing the difference between what must be endured and what can be changed. The Stoic does not waste strength fighting what cannot be controlled. They accept reality fully, then act within it wisely. In this balance they find calm power. To accept life as it is, without bitterness or denial, is an act of supreme courage. Stoic practices to cultivate courage. 1. Voluntary discomfort. Regularly expose yourself to mild challenges, cold showers, fasting, silence, or physical exertion. This trains the mind to stay calm under discomfort and builds resilience before crisis arrives. 2. Negative visualization. Visualize loss, failure, or difficulty, not to invite fear but to prepare the mind. When hardship comes, it will not catch you off guard. You will meet it as an old acquaintance, not a stranger. 3. Speak the truth gently. In moments of social pressure, practice honesty. Even small acts of truthful speech build moral courage. 4. Face a fear daily. List something you've been avoiding. A conversation, a decision, a habit. Face it calmly today. Fear shrinks when faced with reason. 5. Journal of strength. Each night record moments when you acted courageously, no matter how small. Over time this reflection trains the identity. I am someone who endured. The calm warrior. The Stoic warrior is not loud or aggressive. Their strength is quiet, disciplined, and rooted in principle. They do not fight to prove themselves. They act because it is right. This is the essence of Stoic courage. Firm, rational, and guided by virtue. You do not need to eliminate fear. You only need to walk forward despite it. The link between courage and peace. Courage brings peace because it ends internal conflict. When you act according to your principles, you no longer wrestle with doubt or regret. Most anxiety comes from avoidance, fearing pain, postponing truth, or hiding from responsibility. Courage dissolves that anxiety by facing reality head-on. Peace follows naturally when you stop running from life. Action step. Think of one challenge you have avoided, something uncomfortable but necessary. Write down the smallest possible first step toward facing it. Then, take that step today. You will feel fear, yes, but you will also feel strength rising behind it. Each time you face discomfort willingly, your power expands. The courage to continue. Courage is not a single act. It is a way of being. It is showing up again and again, no matter how uncertain or difficult the path becomes. The Stoic knows that every moment of adversity carries the seed of greatness. Every hardship survived becomes proof of strength. Courage, therefore, is not the end of fear. It is the beginning of freedom. When you walk through hardship with calm determination, life no longer intimidates you. You realize nothing can take away your peace unless you hand it over. That is Stoic courage, the steady heart that moves through fire and remains whole. The Stoic understands that time is not life's greatest resource. Attention is. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Where your energy flows, your life is shaped. Focus is the act of bringing the mind home, away from distractions, away from regret, away from anxiety. It is the discipline of presence. Modern life fights for your attention. The Stoic trains to protect it. The Stoic view of the present moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." These 4 words summarize one of the deepest Stoic truths. The only moment that truly belongs to you is this one. The past is memory, and the future is imagination. You can learn from the past and plan for the future, but you can only live in the present. Every time you worry about what has already happened or what might happen next, you step out of reality and into illusion. The Stoic mind lives where life is actually happening now. The enemy of focus, distraction. Distraction is not a new problem. Even the ancient Stoics warned about it. But in the modern world it has multiplied. Notifications, opinions, noise and comparison pull your mind in 1,000 directions. Each distraction fragments your attention, and fragmented attention leads to a fragmented life. Seneca once wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." The Stoic therefore practices deliberate focus. They choose fewer things, but give those things their full presence. The discipline of attention. Focus is not something that appears when you need it. It is something you train daily. Attention is a muscle, and like all muscles, it strengthens through resistance. Each time you resist the pull of distraction by choosing silence over scrolling, stillness over noise, you are training your ability to stay present. The Stoic treats attention as sacred. What you pay attention to is what you become. Practicing Stoic focus in daily life. To live with focus is to live with clarity. The Stoic simplifies their mind and environment to allow purpose to shine through. Here are simple Stoic practices to cultivate presence and attention. Single task with intention. Do one thing at a time. When you eat, just eat. When you listen, just listen. When you work, just work. Multitasking divides your mind and dilutes your power. Begin each day with purpose. Before the noise begins, set a clear intention. What will I give my best attention to today? A mind without direction drifts into distraction. 3. Create spaces of silence. Spend a few minutes each day without input. No phone, no music, no conversation. Silence allows the mind to realign with itself. 4. Guard the first and last hour of your day. How you begin and end the day shapes your mental clarity. Start with focus, end with reflection. The Stoic knows that structure is freedom. 5. Observe the mind without judgment. When distraction arises, do not scold yourself. Simply notice it, breathe, and return to the task. Focus is the art of returning, again and again. The power of present action. The Stoic does not dwell in the abstract. They act. They understand that thinking about action is not the same as acting. When you focus on what's in front of you fully and completely, the moment expands, time slows down. You move from chaos to control. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do every act of your life as though it were the very last." That is not a call for anxiety. It is a call for precision, care and presence. Each moment deserves your best. Focus and emotional clarity. Emotions lose their chaos when met with presence. Anger fades when you bring awareness to it. Anxiety weakens when you stop feeding it with imagination. The Stoic mind does not suppress emotion. It observes it clearly. In that clarity, emotion loses its power to control. Presence is not cold detachment. It is calm engagement. The modern Stoic challenge. Today's world rewards speed over depth, reaction over reflection. But the Stoic refuses to be ruled by the pace of others. They choose depth over distraction. They would rather live one clear day than 100 scattered ones. Your power lies not in doing more, but in doing what matters completely. Focus is not about productivity. It is about integrity. The relationship between focus and purpose. You cannot focus deeply on what you do not value. Purpose gives focus its direction. The Stoic asks, "What deserves my attention?" then aligns every action accordingly. Distraction fades when you live by principle. The clearer your values, the fewer decisions drain your mind. Purpose filters noise. It simplifies choice. It gives the mind peace. Stoic techniques for sharpening focus. 1. The rule of essentialism. Ask, does this activity contribute to my growth, virtue or peace? If not, it is a distraction. 2. Scheduled reflection. At day's end, write one sentence about how you spent your attention. Did it align with your purpose or scatter your mind? 3. Environmental design. Remove temptations before they tempt you. Keep your workspace clean, your phone distant, your mind uncluttered. 4. Deep breathing before work, before any important task. Take 3 slow breaths. Let the breath anchor you to the present moment. Focus begins in stillness. 5. Visual reminder of mortality. Keep a small reminder, a phrase, a symbol, that time is finite. When you remember mortality, you waste less time. The peace that comes with presence. When the mind stops wandering between what was and what could be, it finds rest. The Stoic who masters focus gains a deep calm, not because life is easy, but because the mind is disciplined. Presence removes the noise of regret and fear. It brings clarity to thought and joy to action. Focus is not only a mental skill, it is a spiritual practice. Action step. Today, choose one activity, whether it's working, walking, or speaking, and give it your undivided attention. No multitasking, no background noise, no rush. Notice how your mind feels afterward. Lighter, sharper, more peaceful. This is the experience of true presence. The discipline of now. The Stoic mind lives where life happens. This very moment. When you master focus, you no longer chase the future or replay the past. You engage fully with reality. That is where peace lives. That is where power begins. Focus is not the narrowing of life. It is the expansion of awareness. Through attention, you reclaim your time. Through presence, you reclaim yourself. Gratitude is not a reaction to what is perfect. It is appreciation for what simply is. The Stoic sees gratitude as both a practice and a principle. It is not reserved for moments of joy or success. It is cultivated even in hardship. For the Stoic, gratitude is strength, an unshakable reminder that life, despite its trials, remains a gift. In a world where dissatisfaction has become normal, Stoic gratitude restores balance. It teaches you to see abundance where others see lack. The Stoic view of gratitude. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Take full account of what excellencies you possess, and in gratitude remember how you would crave for them if you had them not." This simple reflection captures the essence of Stoic gratitude. Most people take their blessings for granted until they are gone. The Stoic trains the mind to reverse that, to live in continuous awareness of what already exists. Gratitude is not about denying difficulty, it's about recognizing the light that persists within it. The relationship between gratitude and freedom. The ungrateful mind is always in chains, chained to comparison, craving, and complaint. But gratitude breaks those chains. When you are grateful, you no longer measure life by what is missing, you measure it by what is present. Seneca taught that true wealth lies not in having more but in needing less. Gratitude simplifies desire. It shifts your focus from accumulation to appreciation. Freedom begins the moment you stop chasing what you think you need and start valuing what you already have. The simplicity of enough. Modern life convinces us that happiness lies just beyond the next purchase, achievement, or milestone. But the Stoic sees through this illusion. They know that enough is a moving target for the untrained mind. The more you chase it, the further it moves. Gratitude anchors you to contentment. It whispers, "You already have what many only dream of." The Stoic wakes up and thanks the dawn, not because it is rare but because it still arrives. Gratitude in hardship. Gratitude shines brightest in difficulty. When fortune turns, the Stoic looks for what remains rather than what is lost. In illness, they are grateful for endurance. In failure, they are grateful for lessons. In loss, they are grateful for love once shared. In struggle, they are grateful for the strength to persist. This does not mean denial, it means resilience. Gratitude transforms suffering from punishment into purpose. When you can say thank you even while hurting, you become unbreakable. The Stoic practice of perspective. The Stoic often uses perspective to strengthen gratitude. They imagine life without what they currently have, not to create fear but to awaken appreciation. When you imagine losing your health, your family, or your freedom, suddenly what seemed ordinary becomes sacred. This exercise is called negative visualization, and it reminds you that everything you cherish is temporary, therefore precious. The Stoic does not wait for loss to feel gratitude, they practice it now. The power of simplicity. Gratitude thrives in simplicity. The Stoic is not impressed by luxury, they are impressed by peace. They find joy in a quiet morning, a kind word, a breath of air. They know that the simplest things often carry the deepest meaning. Simplicity clears space for appreciation. When your life is uncluttered by excess, your mind becomes receptive to beauty. Seneca said, "He who is contented with what he has is the richest of men." The richest life is not the one filled with possessions, but the one filled with presence. Practical Stoic exercises for gratitude. Morning appreciation. Before beginning your day, name 3 things you are grateful for. Something physical, something personal, and something unseen. This anchors your mind in abundance. 2. Evening reflection. At the end of the day, recall one difficulty that taught you something valuable. Gratitude for challenge builds resilience. 3. Gratitude in action. Express gratitude silently to people who help you through words, or through the respect of your conduct. 4. Minimalism practice. Spend 1 week simplifying one area of your life. Your space, your schedule, or your digital habits. Simplicity magnifies gratitude. 5. Observation of the ordinary. Pause once daily to appreciate something overlooked. A sound, a scent, a moment of calm. Awareness is gratitude's doorway. The inner calm of a grateful mind. When you live in gratitude, envy fades. You stop comparing your path to others and focus on your own journey. A grateful mind is immune to the poison of resentment. It sees blessings in disguise, progress in imperfection, and beauty in limitation. The Stoic does not measure life by comfort, but by virtue, and gratitude is one of virtue's clearest signs. Gratitude and emotional resilience. Gratitude fortifies emotional stability. It transforms how you process adversity. When life brings loss, gratitude keeps you grounded in perspective. It reminds you that what remains is still worthy of joy. Gratitude prevents bitterness from taking root. It turns the mind away from complaint and toward wisdom. You cannot be grateful and angry in the same breath. Gratitude dissolves emotional noise and reveals inner peace. The spiritual depth of gratitude. Gratitude connects you to something larger than yourself, nature, life, or the divine order. The Stoic often meditates on the beauty of existence itself, the rising sun, the pattern of seasons, the simple miracle of being alive at all. In gratitude, the Stoic finds humility. They realize they are part of something vast, not the center of it. This humility brings serenity. You no longer demand that the world bend to your will. You learn to move with it gracefully. Action step. Today, write down 5 things you're grateful for. 3 obvious, 2 subtle. Then add 1 more. Something that once frustrated you but now taught you strength or patience. Reflect on how that shift in perception changes your energy. Gratitude is not a list. It is a lens. The Stoic way of thankfulness. To the Stoic, gratitude is not an occasional feeling. It is a constant state of awareness. They see every sunrise as undeserved grace, every breath as a reminder of life's fragility, every challenge as a gift for growth. Gratitude does not make life perfect. It makes life peaceful. When you choose gratitude, you stop waiting for happiness. You begin living it. That is the Stoic way, to find contentment, not in having more, but in needing less. To find peace, not in what changes, but in how you see it. Human beings are social by nature. No one thrives in complete isolation, but relationships, whether with family, friends, partners, or colleagues, are also one of life's greatest tests of self-mastery. The Stoic understands that love and reason can coexist. You can care deeply without losing yourself. You can engage with compassion without attachment to control. You can give freely without demanding in return. True connection is not about possession. It is about presence. The Stoic view of relationships. Stoicism does not teach withdrawal from people. It teaches wisdom in dealing with them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Men exist for the sake of one another. Teach them or bear with them." Every person you meet becomes an opportunity to practice virtue, patience, kindness, justice, forgiveness. You cannot control others, but you can control how you show up in their lives. A Stoic approaches relationships with clarity. They see others as fellow travelers on the same uncertain path, each shaped by their own struggles and desires. Instead of judging, they understand. Instead of reacting, they respond. Love without attachment. To love in the Stoic sense is to appreciate, not to cling. Attachment says, I need you to make me happy. Love says, I am happy to walk beside you. Attachment tries to control outcomes. Love accepts the natural impermanence of all things. The Stoic can love deeply precisely because they accept transition. They do not need relationships to last forever. They only need them to be genuine while they last. This mindset frees both yourself and others. When love becomes freedom rather than fear, it grows stronger, not weaker. Expectation and disappointment. Much of the pain in relationships comes not from others' actions, but from your expectations of them. You expect people to think, speak, and behave as you would, and when they don't, you feel betrayed. The Stoic replaces expectation with understanding. They remind themselves, others act according to their nature, not mine. You cannot expect a storm not to rain, or a wave not to crash. Likewise, you cannot expect people to act against their nature. This does not mean tolerating injustice. It means releasing unrealistic hopes. When you stop demanding perfection, you begin to see humanity. The practice of compassionate detachment. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means loving others while remaining centered within yourself. A Stoic does not abandon care. They simply remove the illusion of control. They love without anxiety, serve without seeking reward, and forgive without needing apology. Compassionate detachment allows you to stay kind without becoming drained, to stay supportive without being consumed. It is the balance between empathy and self-respect. Handling conflict. The Stoic way. Conflict is inevitable wherever humans interact, but for the Stoic it is not chaos. It is training. When insulted, they practice patience. When misunderstood, they remain calm. When attacked, they choose dignity over retaliation. Epictetus taught, when someone does you wrong, remember that they act from what they think is right. This perspective removes personal offense and replaces it with insight. Instead of reacting, the Stoic asks, what virtue does this situation call for? Sometimes it calls for silence, sometimes for firmness, always for reason, boundaries, and integrity. A Stoic's kindness is not weakness. They know when to speak truth, when to walk away, and when to protect their peace. Boundaries are not walls. They are gates of integrity. To respect yourself is to teach others how to treat you. The Stoic does not seek validation through people-pleasing. They value harmony, but never at the cost of principle. They understand that sometimes the most loving act is to say no. The power of forgiveness. Holding on to resentment harms the holder more than the offender. Forgiveness, for the Stoic, is not an act of excusing wrong. It is the decision to release bitterness. You cannot control the actions of others, but you can control how long you allow them to live rent-free in your mind. Forgiveness is freedom. It allows the heart to heal without needing justice to arrive first. The Stoic forgives because they choose peace over poison. Stoic practices for relationship wisdom. 1. Pause before reacting. When emotion rises, wait before responding. A moment of reflection often prevents hours of regret. 2. Assume positive intent. Instead of assuming malice, assume ignorance or misunderstanding. This softens the heart and opens communication. 3. Keep expectations realistic. People act from their level of awareness. Expecting perfect behavior is expecting the impossible. 4. Love through action. Show care through deeds, not dependency. Kindness without condition is the purest form of love. 5. Protect your inner circle. Surround yourself with people who encourage virtue, not chaos. Energy is contagious. Choose wisely. Stoic friendship. The Stoic values friendship deeply, but with realism. Seneca wrote, one who seeks friendship for utility will never have friends. Seek friends for friendship's sake. True friendship is built on mutual respect, not advantage. It is not a transaction. It is a partnership in growth. A Stoic friend listens more than they speak, advises without ego, and remains loyal through silence and storms alike. Relationships as mirrors. Every relationship reveals something about you. The impatient person teaches you patience. The critical person teaches you tolerance. The loving person teaches you openness. Others are mirrors reflecting your inner state. Instead of judging them, use them as teachers. This is how the Stoic turns social life into self-improvement. Action step. Today, think of one person you find difficult. Reflect on what this person is teaching you about yourself. Are they revealing your triggers, your pride, or your lack of patience? Then choose one Stoic virtue, patience, kindness, or humility, and apply it consciously the next time you interact. You will notice how peace replaces tension when you choose virtue over reaction. The Stoic way of connection. The Stoic does not isolate. They participate in life with open eyes and an open heart. They know relationships are not possessions, but partnerships in growth. They love deeply, act justly, forgive freely, and detach gracefully. To connect without losing your center, that is wisdom. To love without needing to control, that is strength. And to care without clinging, that is freedom. Human beings are social by nature. No one thrives in complete isolation, but relationships, whether with family, friends, partners, or colleagues, are also one of life's greatest tests of self-mastery. The Stoic understands that love and reason can coexist. You can care deeply without losing yourself. You can engage with compassion without attachment to control. You can give freely without demanding in return. True connection is not about possession. It is about presence. The Stoic view of relationships. Stoicism does not teach withdrawal from people. It teaches wisdom in dealing with them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Men exist for the sake of one another. Teach them or bear with them." Every person you meet becomes an opportunity to practice virtue, patience, kindness, justice, forgiveness. You cannot control others, but you can control how you show up in their lives. A Stoic approaches relationships with clarity. They see others as fellow travelers on the same uncertain path, each shaped by their own struggles and desires. Instead of judging, they understand. Instead of reacting, they respond. Love without attachment. To love in the Stoic sense is to appreciate, not to cling. Attachment says, "I need you to make me happy." Love says, "I am happy to walk beside you." Attachment tries to control outcomes. Love accepts the natural impermanence of all things. The Stoic can love deeply precisely because they accept transition. They do not need relationships to last forever. They only need them to be genuine while they last. This mindset frees both yourself and others. When love becomes freedom rather than fear, it grows stronger, not weaker. Expectation and disappointment. Much of the pain in relationships comes not from others' actions, but from your expectations of them. You expect people to think, speak, and behave as you would, and when they don't, you feel betrayed. The Stoic replaces expectation with understanding. They remind themselves, others act according to their nature, not mine. You cannot expect a storm not to rain, or a wave not to crash. Likewise, you cannot expect people to act against their nature. This does not mean tolerating injustice. It means releasing unrealistic hopes. When you stop demanding perfection, you begin to see humanity. The practice of compassionate detachment. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means loving others while remaining centered within yourself. A Stoic does not abandon care. They simply remove the illusion of control. They love without anxiety, serve without seeking reward, and forgive without needing apology. Compassionate detachment allows you to stay kind without becoming drained, to stay supportive without being consumed. It is the balance between empathy and self-respect. Handling conflict. The Stoic way. Conflict is inevitable wherever humans interact, but for the Stoic it is not chaos. It is training. When insulted, they practice patience. When misunderstood, they remain calm. When attacked, they choose dignity over retaliation. Epictetus taught, when someone does you wrong, remember that they act from what they think is right. This perspective removes personal offense and replaces it with insight. Instead of reacting, the Stoic asks, what virtue does this situation call for? Sometimes it calls for silence, sometimes for firmness, always for reason, boundaries, and integrity. A Stoic's kindness is not weakness. They know when to speak truth, when to walk away, and when to protect their peace. Boundaries are not walls. They are gates of integrity. To respect yourself is to teach others how to treat you. The Stoic does not seek validation through people-pleasing. They value harmony, but never at the cost of principle. They understand that sometimes the most loving act is to say no. The power of forgiveness. Holding on to resentment harms the holder more than the offender. Forgiveness, for the Stoic, is not an act of excusing wrong. It is the decision to release bitterness. You cannot control the actions of others, but you can control how long you allow them to live rent-free in your mind. Forgiveness is freedom. It allows the heart to heal without needing justice to arrive first. The Stoic forgives because they choose peace over poison. Stoic practices for relationship wisdom. 1. Pause before reacting. When emotion rises, wait before responding. A moment of reflection often prevents hours of regret. 2. Assume positive intent. Instead of assuming malice, assume ignorance or misunderstanding. This softens the heart and opens communication. 3. Keep expectations realistic. People act from their level of awareness. Expecting perfect behavior is expecting the impossible. 4. Love through action. Show care through deeds, not dependency. Kindness without condition is the purest form of love. 5. Protect your inner circle. Surround yourself with people who encourage virtue, not chaos. Energy is contagious. Choose wisely. Stoic friendship. The Stoic values friendship deeply, but with realism. Seneca wrote, "One who seeks friendship for utility will never have friends. Seek friends for friendship's sake." True friendship is built on mutual respect, not advantage. It is not a transaction. It is a partnership in growth. A Stoic friend listens more than they speak, advises without ego, and remains loyal through silence and storms alike. Relationships as mirrors. Every relationship reveals something about you. The impatient person teaches you patience. The critical person teaches you tolerance. The loving person teaches you openness. Others are mirrors reflecting your inner state. Instead of judging them, use them as teachers. This is how the Stoic turns social life into self-improvement. Action step. Today, think of one person you find difficult. Reflect on what this person is teaching you about yourself. Are they revealing your triggers, your pride, or your lack of patience? Then choose one Stoic virtue, patience, kindness, or humility, and apply it consciously the next time you interact. You will notice how peace replaces tension when you choose virtue over reaction. The Stoic way of connection. The Stoic does not isolate. They participate in life with open eyes and an open heart. They know relationships are not possessions, but partnerships in growth. They love deeply, act justly, forgive freely, and detach gracefully. To connect without losing your center, that is wisdom. To love without needing to control, that is strength. And to care without clinging, that is freedom. A Stoic life is not measured by wealth, comfort, or reputation. It is measured by the strength of your character, the peace of your heart, and the clarity of your purpose. To live with a Stoic mindset is to rise each morning with intention, act each day with virtue, and rest each night with calm acceptance. This is not a distant ideal. It is a way of being available to anyone willing to practice it. The meaning of a Stoic legacy. Your legacy is not what you leave behind, it's how you live right now. Every thought you master, every emotion you guide, every act of integrity you choose becomes part of that legacy. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." You build your legacy not through words but through the quiet consistency of daily virtue. They live by a compass, not a clock. Purpose gives life direction. It anchors your choices, strengthens your will, and prevents distraction from leading you astray. Purpose is not something you find, it is something you define. It grows from your values and manifests through your actions. Ask yourself, what is the highest good I can serve? That question, lived daily, becomes your compass. Living according to nature. One of the central ideas of Stoicism is to live according to nature. This means aligning yourself with reason, virtue, and the natural order of life. It means accepting change as natural, adversity as necessary, and death as inevitable. To live according to nature is to cooperate with life, not resist it. When you stop fighting what is, you begin to flow with what can be, the calm of acceptance. The Stoic finds serenity in acceptance, not resignation, but strength. They do not curse the storm, they set their sails to meet it. Every event, pleasant or painful, becomes part of their training. Nothing is wasted. When you accept the present moment completely, you no longer live in tension, you live in clarity. The four cardinal virtues. The Stoics' entire philosophy rests on four timeless virtues. 1. Wisdom. To see clearly, to think rationally, and to act rightly. Courage. To face fear and act according to principle, not comfort. 3. Justice. To treat others with fairness, compassion, and respect. 4. Temperance. To practice self-control and moderation in all things. These are not abstract ideals. They are living discipline. Each day is a test of these virtues. Each choice is an opportunity to practice them. The discipline of the moment. The Stoic lives fully in the present. They do not dwell on the past or worry about the future, for both lie beyond control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. Every moment, no matter how ordinary, carries the seed of excellence." The Stoic asks, "What does virtue require of me now?" and then acts upon it. That is discipline, not forced effort, but steady awareness. Death, and the Stoic perspective. To the Stoic, death is not to be feared, but understood. They see it as a natural part of existence, an event as ordinary as birth. It gives meaning to time and urgency to virtue. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Awareness of mortality sharpens focus. It reminds you to live with purpose, to love sincerely, and to waste no moment in pettiness or distraction. Memento mori. Remember that you will die is not morbid. It is liberating. It urges you to live deeply while you can. Peace through principle. Peace is not achieved by comfort, but by congruence. When your actions align with your value, you cannot be at war with your conscience and expect inner calm. The Stoic aligns decisions with principle, not popularity. They know that external success without internal integrity is emptiness disguised as victory. Virtue brings peace, because it brings consistency. When you know who you are, the world can no longer shake you. Service and contribution. A Stoic life is not lived for oneself alone. The wise person understands that fulfillment comes through contribution, through making a difference in the lives of others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." You are part of a larger whole. Every act of kindness, patience, or justice strengthens that whole. To serve others without ego is to serve virtue itself. The serenity of simplicity. The Stoic does not chase complexity. They understand that peace lives in simplicity. They simplify their desires, their possessions, and their thoughts, focusing only on what truly matters. Simplicity is clarity. It allows the mind to breathe, and the soul to act without confusion. To live simply is to live freely. Action step. Each morning reflect on this. If today were my last, how would I choose to act, speak and think? Then live that way fully, kindly, deliberate. This practice will align your daily life with your highest purpose. The Stoic legacy. When your time comes, the Stoic's goal is not to be remembered as perfect, but as principled, to have lived with courage instead of fear, to have met hardship with grace, to have treated others with fairness and respect, to have left behind peace, not regret. That is legacy, not a monument of stone, but a memory of character. The Stoic does not aim to be famous, only faithful to virtue, to truth, to purpose. The eternal discipline. Developing a Stoic mindset is not a single act. It is a lifelong discipline. It begins with awareness, grows through practice, and endures through reflection. Every day offers a chance to strengthen reason, deepen gratitude, and master self-control. This is the journey of the Stoic, to rise above impulse, to live in harmony with reality, and to choose virtue over vanity. In doing so, you build an inner fortress no storm can break. The final reflection: when all is said and done, peace is not something you find, it is something you become. The Stoic mindset transforms the ordinary into the sacred, and chaos into clarity. It is the art of meeting life on its own terms, without fear, without complaint, and without pretense. Live wisely, act justly, endure bravely, and love freely. That is how you develop a Stoic mindset, and through it, a life of unshakable strength, serenity, and meaning.